Now that the Watch Society Aventurine Bel Canto has been released, we wanted to get a little behind the scenes peek about how this watch got started, what were the design decisions that went into it, and how does it work with Christopher Ward in creating your own bespoke watch. So let's get into it. Usually when you want to work with Christopher Ward on a bespoke watch, it's a really easy first step to go scroll down to the bottom of their website and hit bespoke, fill out a form, and start the conversation with them. In our case, it came from the head of Christopher Ward North America, which is Mike Pearson. Mikey P was our first guest on here. He's somebody we've known has been a great champion of the Watch Society and spreading the word. He's an absolutely fantastic person to have on the Christopher Ward team, and they're lucky to have him. And he mentioned to us, hey, would you be interested in doing a bespoke project? So as we sat with the idea for a couple of days, the most brilliant watch person I know turned to me and said, you know what, we should do it, but only if they'll let us do an Aventurine Bel Canto. And that was the spark that did it. Christopher Ward has won 2 GPHG awards, one for the Bel Canto and one for their Moonphase Aventurine. Combining those 2 award-winning watches into one with an Aventurine Bel Canto was a no-brainer. So much so, I was surprised it didn't happen yet. I couldn't find any other examples, so I figured there might have been a problem with why they didn't do this or some sort of question, but hey, it doesn't hurt to ask. So we contacted Mike and we said, hey, please put us in touch with the bespoke department and let's get talking. Now, in your first meeting with the bespoke department, bring an idea. Bring what you want to do to them. I think that always helps the process that you have a starting point and you know what you want to do versus just asking them for help, because they will design things for the masses because that's what they do. You need to design something for yourself and what you want for your club. So we came with the idea of, hey, can we do an Aventurine Bel Canto? And since a Bel Canto, there's not a lot you can do with the dial itself, the watch face, I wanted to do a Roman numeral disc. When we started with this process, the Roman numeral Bel Canto Classic was not out yet. It was still about 2 months away, so I didn't know that was coming. The idea of a Roman numeral came first from the Watch Society logo, and second, the one time they used Roman numerals in the Bel Canto British Watchmakers Edition, it was a easier to read watch. The Roman numerals worked better than the stick markers they currently had, I thought, to make a easy to read timepiece. And with such a small time-telling dial on the watch face, you needed something that was very easy to read. So I thought our sans serif Roman numerals on our logo would be perfect for that, and it was. We also wanted to have our logo on the back, which is a relatively easy thing to laser engrave the back plating. So that's really not the worry. And the first version of that was pretty much the last version of that. But after having a conversation about what we wanted, about the details of the Roman numerals, the Aventurine dial, it turns out that Christopher Ward was thinking about Aventurine for a while, and they thought this would be a great opportunity to put it out there. So it happenstance to work that we were at first able to do the Aventurine Bel Canto. And in fact, we found out some people have asked before, but they weren't able to do it at the time. So we were fortunate enough to be the first. They came back to us with 8 different versions. The big divide was blue or black Aventurine. Seeing all the options, there were a couple of things that were clear right away. 1, the Roman numerals worked. 2, blue Aventurine was definitely the way to go. And 3 was, what were we going to do with the color on the beak? Because there were plenty of options, but one of the things that we wanted to do was give a little shout out to the first chapter of the Watch Society, which was in Atlanta, because it is the biggest concentration of people. It's where things started, and we didn't want to make too much of it, but a little shout out would have been real nice. And since for the Atlanta Watch Society, the logo is in black and red because of a Coke bezel and Coke in Atlanta, we decided to make the beak red as a shout out to the original Watch Society in Atlanta. Just a nice little touch to the origin, and the rest of it would be all about the Watch Society. So that set up the second meeting with the Bespoke Watch Department, where they came back to us with the red beak, the blue Aventurine, and a couple of different dial designs in the silver and black numerals and a black and white numerals, and also with 2 different handsets of a lighter gray or a darker gray. I think all of these options looked good, but none of them hit home just right when you saw this and you really took a second to decide, what will this dial look like? And the black and white one was high contrast and very easy to read, but didn't really flow with the blue Aventurine. The silver and black numerals also didn't have the same feel. It felt like an afterthought to go with the blue. So again, went back and had a talk with the best watch designer I know, and she mentioned that maybe we should make it blue like the Aventurine. So we came back to Christopher Ward and said, what if we change those Roman numerals to blue to match the blue Aventurine, and use the darker gray hands because they allow for a little bit more contrast from the gray dial, and it's easier to read that way. And a few weeks later, again, we had our next meeting with the bespoke department, and we got to see what was basically the final rendering, the final version. This point, no notes, absolutely perfect. And this was what should happen when you have a bespoke experience. You go through round after round refining what it is. If it's absolutely right the first time, you probably missed something, because take a chance to look at the details. Look at the colors of letters, the hand color, just little things and thoughts to how can you make everything cohesive just a little bit more, because we're talking about a square inch on the wrist. Details is what everything is, and you can do a lot at Christopher Ward. Just with the Bel Canto, we've seen people put fun colors on the dial, guilloche'd the dial, colored the bridges. It's nearly limitless what they will let you do, and it's surprising how much they'll let you do. It's not like Tudor, who just puts your logo on the dial and calls it a day. Christopher Ward will work with you to do whatever they can. The only thing we asked that we knew might be a step too far was possibly putting red screws in it and having to paint the screw heads. But it was a quick thought and a quick 1 minute, yeah, you know what, that's probably just going to scratch the screws. It's not going to look good real quick, so let's just not do that. But it's a conversation they're willing to have with you about all those little details. And it's even the small things. If you look at the Bel Canto Classic, around the Roman numerals, there's little dots, and we didn't want that. We wanted stick lines around the edge because it looks like a railroad track, an old school watch dial, and it pops a little bit more with the Roman numerals. It feels like a classic watchmaking thing that you've seen before. And with so much going on in Aventurine Bel Canto, having a little bit of something that's old school and classic yet matches is a really good thing. It kind of grounds the craziness, and it makes this watch a very everyday wearable watch while still being Aventurine and sparkly and a striking hour and half of it open. It's a very modern watch, but yet feels very wearable day to day, and that's something that is hard to do. So take a minute when you're trying to design a watch and think about how it would feel day to day, not just how it feels to splash your name on it. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think of when they create a bespoke watch, is this shouldn't be about the one time you're designing it to say, hey, it looks cool on a poster and call it a day. It should look good that you're wearing it every day. And I think that's what we did here. I think this watch really did hit it out of the ballpark. I am so happy and so proud of those who helped design it and helped bring it to life. Thank my wife, Giancarlo. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, there's no way this watch would have made the market. If you're creating a bespoke watch, I also think you should create some bespoke art for it, because watch and art kind of go together. Watches are wearable art. So I reached out to Time Geek Watch on Instagram, and I've loved the work of his I've seen before of the kind of design sketches of watches, and asked if he could create one for our Bel Canto, and he did. In fact, it's right there. So we're also creating a small series of that for some of the people in the group who are interested, but keep an eye out. If you are also creating your own watch, commission a piece of art to go with it, because this is something that's personal. Why not have something you can also hang on the wall when you're not just wearing it out? I think it's a fun side of the watch industry, because if you love watches, you probably have an appreciation for art. If you are thinking about doing a bespoke watch with Christopher Ward, I will say the process of the design is very smooth. Now, there are some limits. 25 watches is a minimum order, but again, you can paint the bridges, you can create custom case backs, you can create custom dials all over the place. They'll remove markers from the dial, give you custom handsets. It's amazing how far they will go, because many watch companies don't spend that extra time to do more. They say, well, we'll only work with you on this and this model, and we'll only put your logo on it, and that's it. And if that's what you want, and you want a logo on a dial, there are plenty of options out there. But I'll say Christopher Ward really went that extra mile on this and gave us exactly the watch we wanted. Negatives, because nothing's perfect. While the design process is great, you are creating a bespoke watch. And that means that the dial does not exist. The hands may not exist. The case back doesn't exist. These things have to be made. They have to be ordered. They have to be tested to make sure that they fit, to make sure the color matches. So the lead time, if you're lucky and you want to do the minimalist least possible, it might take a few months. But the likelihood is it's going to take a year, year and a half to go from start to finish. And even once the design is done, that's when you start your orders. That's when you pre-order for everyone. Everyone pays and then has to wait for the watch. And that's when the wait time happens of up to a year or more. So when that happens, it can get a little frustrating, because you're like, I paid for a watch and I'm waiting for it. And that's just the nature of bespoke sometimes, is this company has to go out and source these things now that you've decided you want to create it. The people have said they want it, they've paid for it, and they're going to go make it, and they're going to go create it. But it takes time. And given the supply chain of the world, sometimes that time can be extended, frustratingly so. Sometimes it works out well. For us, it did take longer than expected. So we were expecting a faster turnaround than we did, and it was frustrating to watch a few months go by, expecting to get news that it was ready, and it's not ready, and got pushed back and pushed back. So it was certainly a few months beyond what we expected, and that was certainly frustrating to others. And even as it starts shipping, it doesn't get shipped out. If you have a large order like we did of 100 watches, they don't all get shipped out at the exact same time. They get shipped out in batches of 10 or 20. So you have some people who have them and some people who are waiting for them, and that creates frustration. If everything works out well in the end, though, everyone will get their watch, they'll love it, and that frustration will go away. It will be about this watch that you design that's going to be with you for years, that's special and unique, that no other group has, that was made for you and through your design and your design philosophy and ideas. So there's your pluses and minuses of it. If you're willing to wait for it, you can create a great watch, and Christopher Ward is open about using just about any model. If you are interested in doing bespoke with Christopher Ward, give them a call. If you enjoyed what we did here in the Aventurine Bel Canto, please let us know in the comments. And if you have any questions about the process or any questions about how this watch came about or anything more, also please let us know in the comments. Be glad to answer any questions, and have a good one.